Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. We're on episode 111. Love it. Love the fact. I love the numbers. Feel it's crazy that we got to 111. And I always love to start the podcast by saying thank you. I feel so grateful for this platform, for this podcast, for all the messages we receive. So thank you to all our listeners. Thank you for all the messages we receive. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for allowing us to guide you on this spiritual journey. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Feeling very blessed. And I could not have done it without my beautiful co-host, the stunning, the healer extraordinaire, now published author, Stacey Brown. Stace, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, friends. It's good to be back. Really look forward to this conversation as I feel like it's coming up, as it always does, for a reason. My name is Stacey. I am an intuitive. I do intuitive readings and Akashic record readings for people from around the world. We have an amazing mentorship program that I'm super passionate about. And I love this podcast. It's another passion project. And yes, I published a book just about a year ago now, Journey to Soul Center Discovering the Gift of Surrender. And it's available on Amazon and Audible. I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
So am I. Hi, everybody. I'm Nims. I'm also an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, podcast creator, and a spiritual coach and mentor. And I love the work that we do. I really do feel like we're kind of entering into a phase of being pushed to shine a light, being pushed to put ourselves at the center, which kind of goes against all the programming. It goes against who we are in terms of, what our program life look like, because standard behavior would be to put others first, right? But I really do feel we've been pushed to release all those things that we've been holding on to and finish those karmic cycles and really focus on putting ourselves at the center. And when I think about our mentorship program, I love the changes it's doing, the love that how we guide people to put themselves at the center, to release the programming, to truly shine their light. That's why we thought, being January, it was a great time to really do something to help and guide people to invest in themselves. So we took our 3 months mentorship program and basically decided that we're going to um, charge allow people to have 4 months worth of mentorship for the price of three. Over 3 months, over 12 weeks, you get to really work on all four of your bodies, go deep on who you are, on your programming, release the things that you're holding on to connect with your gifts, to really understand your soul's journey. And it really is all about self. When we work with people on month four, what that does is really how do you take your gifts and how do you apply them to the world? So we thought it was a great idea to really add that fourth month as a promotion for January, because so many people are looking to invest in themselves. And we just love the work that we're doing with all our clients and the gifts and the moments that we're receiving from all of them. And secondly, we also have a group program starting at the end of Feb. And the group program is a max of 5 people. And what we do is, the reason we want to keep it to max of 5 is because you get group healing. And we want to still keep it intimate. We want to still keep it small. If you want to find out about any of this stuff, you can book a free discovery call with us, and we'd love to take you through the detail. We basically take 30 minutes to go detail on kind of what you're trying to gain from the program, and also we take you through the structure of it. And we do have a structure, but also we personalize it based on the individual. And I love the work that we're doing, Stacey, with that program. I love the changes we're making. How do you feel about it?
It's been one of the greatest joys. I love the work that we do, and um, it's it's such a mix. There are going to be moments of breakthrough and aha, and there are going to be moments that might feel a little scary. But doing this work has brought me a lot of joy, and I feel really grateful for the opportunity that we have to do this work and to help so many people because it's very different from the beauty industry. And I just feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to do.
I love it. I love it. And this week's topic is all about the vibration of money. And when I was talking about January and really kind of being a time of change and putting yourself at the center, maybe I don't talk about it enough on here, but I've been in the corporate world for 30 years plus. I have a really good role, a senior role within a software company. But I decided on Friday that I need to dedicate my life to this healing business too. So I resigned. And so it means I'm going from a salary-led living to something that I'm going to be self-employed, right? So, but I trust in this journey and I trust in being supported in the area that I know I'm doing what I'm meant to do. But it's interesting when we talk about the vibration of money. We planned these topics 2 months in advance, so I didn't know I was going to resign on Friday, and the universe has its own way of kind of aligning us, right? So, when if we start the topic about vibration of money, um, our relationship with money is always an interesting thing, right? It's that um, how do we really feel about it? And old paradigm would have been, as a healer, I'm not meant to be financially abundant. I think that's an old paradigm, right? I believe that all of us can be abundant in all areas of our life, but it also requires the healing and the work on each of our four bodies to release and to really be abundant in not just money but love, but also financially, right? And when you talk about the vibration of money, money is a vibration, it's an energy, and we need to ask ourselves, how do we really feel about it? If when we think about the vibration of money, we get nervous around it, or we don't want to hold on to it, so we get rid of it quickly, or we don't think we're ever going to have enough, then if we think about it as a vibration, why would that vibration want to be near you? What if we flipped it and focused on the vibration, focused on what we're going to do with the money, thought of money as a friend that we want to be around and we want to hold on to, but we also want more of? What if we focus on what we can do with the money and how many people we can help, and change the vibration, and also think about ancestry. What are we dealing with money? What was your parents' journey like with money? Go on a discovery to really kind of understand your connection and vibration of money and what it looks like. We can go deeper on this episode, but Stace, as I hand over to you and kind of ask you, what's your relationship been like with money? How do you feel about the
Well, so
vibration of money?
I have a question for you first. So is the energy of money masculine?
Ah, that's a really good
Does it come,
question.
does it come from the masculine part of us?
I mean, I feel it does. It's like if you from if you think about it from your four bodies, I think it's very mental. So it's yes, I do think it comes from, especially when you think about it from an ancestral perspective. I think business, money is very much it's intertwined with the masculine energy that we have. So yeah, it's a good point. Um, doesn't mean that you don't need balance, right? Everything has a masculine and feminine, but for me, in my opinion, yeah, it's very masculine.
Because for me right now, I'm recognizing that a lot of the energy that I have around money is tied to my male ancestry. So my paternal connection. And I absolutely feel that I have some of that same energy. And there's an awareness of it in this season that I couldn't have anticipated. Like it's being pointed out to me repeatedly that this is something ancestral and that it's tied to my father. And it's something vibrationally that I think I've felt for so long that I almost don't know what it feels like to not feel it.
Yeah, and that's why it's interesting to go on that journey, really, to really understand your relationship with money, and just because so often we work on the physical side of it, right? I.e., gotta kind of save, or gotta get a better job, or gotta, but also we've got to think about what areas do we need to heal. And I talk a lot about, I believe a lot of us have decided to heal not just their own karma in this lifetime, but also ancestral karma, which is why I feel we've been going deep on so many topics. And when you think about money and you think about how many people are struggling right now, there is a lot of healing that needs to happen, right? There's a lot of, and sure, you can focus on working harder, you can focus on, kind of getting a different job or whatever you need to do. But at the same time, I'd encourage you to go on that journey of understanding your relationship with money. I mean, I look at what I've manifested, and I know, growing up we didn't have a lot of money. I was a refugee from Uganda, so we didn't have much. But I remember as a four to 5 year old, kind of seeing a conversation that one of my older sisters was having with my parents about money, and she wanted to do something, and we couldn't afford to do it. I can't remember what it was. But I remember thinking as a 4 or 5 year old that when I grow up, I'm going to have enough money to help and support the family, and I'm going to have a big enough place that if they need somewhere to stay, they're going to have it. And I would say I'm comfortable, just, and I feel blessed with it. But I know that 4 year old had a big part to play in it, and
Mhm.
you know, there's so many other things I wish I could tell that 4 year old to manifest, but that's a whole different story. But our childhood and our experience with money growing up has a huge impact on us as an adult, because if we grew up with an energy of scarcity and an energy of desperation around money, or maybe at an experience where maybe you had money and your parents lost it, or maybe they had it or you abused it, but whatever you went through as a child, I do think that has an impact on us as an adult. So do that research, do that on what was your relationship like with money. And I know for me, we struggled with it, but that kind of drove me to do something different. Actually, it drove me at the beginning of my career to be very career focused, to be very, very much mental. And I mean, I talk about my spiritual journey in other episodes, but it took something major to shift my life to start focus on the spiritual side. Because I was determined not to have the same experience as I did as a child. And they say the child is father to the man. So, when you, whatever you experience as a child, you either do the same thing or you do the opposite. That's our programming, right? So, Stacey, you asked me that question, and kind of proves that we don't plan these episodes. Whatever comes through comes through. So I didn't know you would ask me that question, right? So it came through to you. But I guess let me ask you, what was your relationship like with money growing up, and how is that impacting you today?
I mean, externally, it was like I was given everything. I was always looked out for, and I didn't know how to work for it because it was just kind of thrown at me. But it was thrown at me to compensate for other things not being there. And so though externally people would say, wow, she had everything, there I didn't have the core thing that I really wanted. So money for me kind of represented like a throw it at her and make it go away kind of a thing. And I believe now, well, let me add to that. There was also there was a lot said to me about like not being qualified unless you have a college degree, and like just a lot of like ingrained beliefs that um, I've had to break through. And it hasn't been easy. And I think I'm still in it. Like I think I'm still uncovering layers of it. But the way it impacted me, I don't feel is what you would expect it would impact you to be in an environment like that. Um, I just felt like money represented being unsafe is what I just got. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it just felt like a very scary place to be. Like there was always a price to pay. Um, and I believe I'm a very powerful manifester. So I want to heal this more and continue to manifest abundance in all the ways of my life. I want to have rich experiences. I want to have, those things that I need to take care of me and my daughter, but like I want to really be able to enjoy my life. Like I gave up so much to be here in this space that I just have to believe that this is another layer for me to peel away right now. And that's why it's coming up right now.
Yeah, no, and we've talked about the vibration of money before, right? And it's that what do people see outside and how do you feel inside? And the journey that our parents go on around money does impact us. And it's kind of interesting for me in terms of that we're recording this because I know I'm meant to do this work.
Mhm.
I know I'm here to do and I know I'm meant to, but it doesn't mean I'm not nervous around it because I'm used to, having a salary, right? And I'm used to, and it's making me think, what's my relationship with money like? And it's that journey you go on, and Stacey, when I think about what you just shared, and some of the conversations we've had, um, your relationship with money, as you said, outwardly you look like you're very abundant, and there was a, and you share in your book, sure, financially you looked abundant, but there was a lot of other stuff going on behind the scenes. But that evolved over time with your relationship with your parents in terms of your parents' relationship with money.
Mhm.
And how do you think that evolution and that journey, that roller coaster, and also, your dad had to travel a lot and he wasn't really present a lot of the time because he was so focused on.
Mhm.
I'm curious, and if you could share a bit more around what does that journey feel like in today's world, and how is that manifested for you today?
How does in today's world, like, do you mean how is it impacting
How,
me? Like,
yeah, how is everything that and the journey that your parents went through with money, the ups and downs of it, how has that impacted you in today's world and your journey over the last couple of years?
um, I would say it felt like something that just like blocked me in some ways, for a period of time. I would say it's still something that I'm working through, but I think the way that it impacts me now is, um, I'm always like dancing between the space of the past and the things that were said to me and the way I was raised and the knowing that I have that I'm doing really important work. And it's, we've talked about the trust fall on here before, but a lot of it is a trust fall, right? If I know that I'm meant to do this work, then no experience or interaction that I'm meant to have is going to miss me. And so I've had to really dig deep spiritually and have like a lot of conversations with God because, like this is all new. This is all new, meaning being in the space of being on my own, being in my own living space, running my own business, like all of it. This is the first time for me in this season. And so I feel that the money stuff has come up in seasons of my life and it's coming up now. So the question is, what is the message now? And I feel it's time to heal another layer of this. It's time. right? Like if it's coming up again and again, the universe is saying, pay attention.
For sure,
And
for
and
sure.
it's coming up again, right?
So when I ask you, how do you feel about money? What's the first
Mhm.
thing that comes to your mind?
Scared.
And then if I asked you, when was that first time that you felt scared about money in that way? What comes up for you?
I'm not sure in like the past, but I would say as soon as I split from my husband and realized like I'm no longer in a team. I'm no longer on a team. This is me alone. I would say that was like the time that it's come into my awareness right now.
And it's, you know, the question you asked around whether it's feminine or masculine was really an interesting question because, you know, it's almost like what you spend money on could be around feminine, but money itself vibrationally does feel very masculine. So maybe for our listeners, let me ask you, how do you feel about money? And if I then change the question to ask, how do you feel about spending money on you? Does that energy, does that vibration change? Because there's so many things you can do. I always recommend things like, you know, when you're manifesting, when you think about, you know, what are you trying to manifest? You can always write a letter to money. And, you know, I always recommend doing it for like 7 days and do it from a different perspective. Don't write the same thing, but write a letter to money as if money was your friend. Focus on what you're going to do with the money. Focus on write about where you want to go on holiday, you know, what you want to buy with the money. Um, and just see how that changes your vibration and your connection to money. The other thing I always recommend, it may appeal to you, may doesn't, is you can also write to an archangel, whichever one you feel connected to. Or I always recommend Lakshmi, right? Lakshmi in Hinduism is all about abundance. That's what she represents. So you could also do that, right? You could also um, write a letter to Lakshmi and just, but again, it has to be the focus on what are you manifesting? What are you going to do? What are you dreaming about? You know, and write as if you're already doing it. You know, thank you for the opportunity to spend so much time together. Thank you for the opportunity to see so many places together. Um, and that's one part of it. And like we were saying earlier, the self-discovery and the journey, and really asking and being honest with yourself about your journey with money over your lifetime. And you know, thinking about what your parents' relationship like with money was. And then, like I said, the third thing is meditate on it. And maybe you go through and realize that there's something that's happened in a past life that's holding you back. Um, and sure, explore your from an ancestral perspective. Start with exploring your masculine line. How do you feel about it, and what's your connection with it like, and see where it takes you. I really do feel that vibrationally we're entering into more of a feminine age. Hence the spiritual gifts, hence the, you know, us being activated spiritually, and kind of so many people going through an awakening. And if you think about last few centuries, it has been all about the masculine, right? You know, in terms of the power, in terms of the hunger, in terms of the conquering world and all the rest of it. Um, and it's just interesting as you feel the world and the planet changing so much. I really do feel that we're entering into more of an age of the feminine. But then money is still important, so the masculine is obviously still there. So it's really about finding balance. So, Stace, when you talk about knowing that obviously it's another cycle coming up and there's stuff that needs to be worked on, what are you recommending? What would you recommend to our listeners to do when you talk about healing the money side and kind of really thinking about it from vibration?
Well, so I think the first thing is to become aware of it, right? Like now I'm aware this is going on. I think the next thing for me is to do some writing about it or talking it out because both work in different ways for me, but have a similar release. And I believe as I talk it out, as I write it out, I'm going to kind of see or uncover more of it and like, okay, what is happening here and what am I supposed to do with this? But for me, just because it comes up doesn't mean that I have the solution yet. Sometimes I have to sit with it and marinate with it. I believe that as far as money goes, a lot of what I'm feeling feels ancestral. It doesn't feel like it's mine. And it feels like something that's ready to be released. And that's pretty much all I know right now, which that's a lot to know right now. Like, right?
Yeah. No, and I mean, that's very insightful, right? That's so when you feel the energy and the vibration of what people are going through right now in terms of, you know, money feels like it's just causing a lot of pain right now.
Hmm.
The expenses are going up. People are having to spend more money just on essentials, right? In terms of, fuel and the rest of it. So, what do you feel is happening on the planet as far as money is concerned and the vibration of it? Are you getting anything there?
I feel that people are getting more extreme on the seesaw of being in a space where they are spiritually connected versus being in a space of acting out in fear. I feel like we're seeing a lot more exaggerated representations of this around us right now. There's a lot of discontent in the world, yes, but then there's also this um, global awakening happening where people are starting to become more aware. So, do I think there's fear around money? Yes, but I also think that there's a lot of extreme success around money. And so I believe that as we go further in time, these things are going to become more and more enhanced because we as humans in the experience are evolving, which to me the souls that are coming to this world and experiencing things, they are more evolved as well. So we're going to see more in this generation coming up of really aligned spiritual souls, like old souls, and then we're going to see these souls that are totally in a space of fear and um, and crisis. So it feels to me like we've seen this through centuries, but it feels to me like it's more enhanced now and a little bit more extreme. What would you say?
I totally agree. I feel that in many ways, all of us are going through an awakening, feeling something different inside, not feeling connected to who we were, feeling the world and the planet is changing. And, some people are using that to kind of go inside and kind of sit with themselves and really kind of know that everything they need is inside. And others will look outside for the answers. And, um, there's no right or wrong. Everyone's on their own journey, right? And it's that I would always encourage people to take time to sit with themselves and realize that everything they're going through is within them. But I agree on the exaggerated front. I do believe that, and it's interesting if I think of the last few years, how we've all been kind of going through the same thing. When I think about COVID and all of us being on lockdown, we are all kind of going through something similar, right? And then, think about the last couple of years and especially last year, anyone we talked to, anyone I've spoken to about last year, felt the energy and the heaviness of it, and so much happened. And when you think about it spiritually, so many ancestral cycles and karmic cycles closing, and then you think about lost friendships, and so much changed in 2023. So people are feeling a bit maybe lost, maybe frustrated, maybe scared of what's coming next. Um, and money's one of those things that when you don't have it, it really does consume you. I mean, I think of the periods when, I was made redundant. I was out of work for a couple of years and money wasn't coming in. It consumed me. I couldn't do anything else. So when I think about the spiritual work and I think about all the healing that needs to be done, when you don't have money and it's like a survival, it's hard to do the other work. So it feels like it's such a base chakra type work. It's so foundational. Um, and it's like even trusting that things are going to improve when you're struggling on a day-to-day basis is hard. Which is why I know that, when we talk about the vibration of money and we ask people to think about, kind of what's going on ancestrally, and, I'm sure there's a bit of frustration out there in terms of, well, hold on a second. I'm struggling with it now, and you're asking me to go deeper, and you're asking me to, um, but that's, this is the journey that our souls pick. So whatever you're going through, whether it's financial, whether it's related to whichever body, right? Whether it's love, whether it's emotion, it is part of your journey, right? And it's that the more that you can integrate and really ask the tough questions. This is the period I think we're in. Is you asked me how I felt. I really do feel it's the period where we've got to look in the mirror and have an honest conversation with ourselves. What are we holding on to that we haven't let go of? What healing do we need to do? Because I feel like our awareness has increased to what's happening around us, but awareness on its own without taking action is super frustrating. It helps for a while. You can say, oh, I'm aware that this is ancestral. I'm aware that this is, that my relationship with money I need to work on. I'm aware. But unless you take action, you're going to get frustrated.
Mhm.
And it's taking that action and, kind of really being open with how do you really feel about you right now? What do you need to work on for you? Because everything in your external is a result of your internal. So if you are struggling financially, then your answers are in you. And again, that may trigger people in terms of, you may be thinking, well, hold on, I'm working as hard as I can. I'm giving all of me because, what, I know this is important and I've worked really hard, yet I still don't feel I've been rewarded. And you're probably right. But also, it's that honest conversation with yourself about how you're showing up. What are the areas of your life that you're holding on to that you know aren't serving anymore? Are you showing up in the way that you should be, um, to really truly shine your light? And even when I use the word should, it kind of triggers me a little bit because there's a lot of should, or I should be doing this, I should be doing that. But it's like, what's the one thing you can do for you today? And once you start doing things for you and you're putting yourself at the center and you truly focus on this moment and you be grateful in the moment, what if the next moment is even better? And again, I make that sound easy, right? It is tough, right? Like I said to you at the beginning, I remember the feeling of not having money and not having any money coming in and being scared of losing my home. And I remember it consumed me like a darkness. Um, and I've known for probably a year I've been talking about leaving my corporate role. And I do feel that my resistance to doing that was because I still had residual memory of those times where I was worried about being homeless. I was worried about losing everything I'd worked on. Um, that probably affected me and delayed whatever I was here to do. But I don't have any regrets with it. I still have fear around what's coming next, but actually my knowingness in terms of what I'm here to do actually kind of overrides that. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting journey when you think about the vibration of money. So what would your advice be to our listeners?
I would first ask yourself, like, where it comes from. Where was the first time you remember feeling this way? Where do you feel this stems from? And I think it's very real when you've experienced lack before to have fear come up of experiencing that again. I think that that's a very natural evolution of things, but staying in that space is the choice. And so I would say start by writing or talking it out with somebody, right? Like, okay, I've now recognized that I have this feeling towards the vibration of money, whatever that might be. And where does it come from? And then what do you do with it? Right? Because sometimes it serves us and sometimes it doesn't. And so for me right now, it's getting to a place of understanding and being aware of when it doesn't serve me, right? Like it doesn't serve me to be in that space when I know that I'm doing what I'm meant to do, right? So I kind of have to do this dance. And so I would tell anybody who's kind of digging into this for yourself, find a place to process it so that you can become more aware of it because we can't change what we're not aware of. I know
Yeah.
um, it might sound simple, but when you sit down and get real with yourself and understand where it comes from, then that's the space where you can start to make change. And I definitely recognize now where it comes from.
Hmm. Powerful stuff. And I always recommend journaling and sure speaking to somebody is a great sounding board. I always love sometimes talking to myself in the mirror and having a real conversation with myself, eye to eye, kind of really connecting with my soul and having an honest conversation with myself and just going on that journey of discovery. And, like I said, this year I really do feel that we've been pushed to shine our light. So really also to ask, are you doing the things that you enjoy? Because if you do what you're here to do, I really believe the universe will reward you. And I guess the last question I'd end on is, do you deserve it? Because I also feel that some of us don't feel like we deserve the money. We don't feel like we don't feel like we deserve to be abundant. What does that feel like? And as we enter this new vibration, this new season, we purposefully recorded this in early Jan because really do feel like the new year is it's a great chance for new beginnings. The calendar year is a human thing, right? From a spiritual journey perspective, not sure it really matters, but I do feel like we're getting into a new vibration. So what if that new vibration could lead to a new you? So I'm encouraging all our listeners to really truly embrace this new version, this new energy that's around, and be open to magic. Maybe God's going to show up for you in a way that you never expected. I am excited. One of the things that the freedom of not working is I'm really hoping is that we can do much more live events. I'm excited to do live events. I really want to meet people. I love working with people on Zoom and connecting, but there's something about meeting people in person. So I do have an event that I wanted to mention. It's on the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of February. It's in Vancouver. It's for those that have heard previous episodes where you've heard me talk about Sidra, who was my mentor, my guru, my friend, who's now one of my guides. It's going to be with her sister. So she's kind of carrying on some of Sidra's work. So I'm excited to do a retreat with her. If you want more information, reach out. I can share it. Actually, Zara's going to be a guest on next week's episode, and we can talk more with her then. As we get into this phase and as I think about this episode, I am a little nervous, if I was to be honest. I'm still processing. I mean, I've been with this same company for 18 years, and it feels like the end of an era. And I took that leap because I trusted in what I'm here to do. And I'm encouraging all listeners to really ask, what are you here to do? What is your calling on this planet? Um, and what if your destiny scares you? What if you truly embraced this version of you and fell in love with this version of you? And so, Stace, as I share these words and kind of whatever's coming through me, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about this year? And how do you feel about truly shining your light in the way it was meant to?
I feel like this year is going to be a big year for a lot of people. And it feels like the end of a cycle of a lot of hardship and a lot of pain. And it feels to me that so many of us have gone through what we've gone through, and it has led us to living more purposefully, more intentionally, um, more with our soul, more connected to our soul. And I feel like this can be a year for a lot of us to break through some of the old paradigms.
I love it. I love it. It does feel like we've been working a lot on ourselves for many years, right? It does feel like, I'm sure, even me included, there's a lot of people thinking, oh my God, I just want a bit of respite. I do feel this year is still going to be intense, but maybe it can be more fruitful and more rewarding if we allow it to be. So, Stace, I love sharing this stage with you. I love the space that we've created. I never know what's going to come through on a podcast. But thank you for being you. Thank you for being in this space. Thank you to all our listeners. I feel very, very blessed to be on this journey with you. Stacey, I'm going to hand it over to you to close out.
Thanks, friends, for spending time with us. We love it when we get emails and messages from all of you. We try to respond in a timely manner. If you want to say thank you in a bigger way, head over to the podcast and rate and review. It helps us, it helps boost our visibility, and we are deeply grateful to bring in as many souls as we can to this space. There's room for all of you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And as I said earlier, if you want to find out more about our mentorship program, if you truly want to shine your light, then go to any one of our websites. It's in the show notes, and book a free discovery call. We'd love to share more about what we do. Sending you all so, so much love and light, and bye for now.